U.S., oil companies have recorded unprecedented profits as Americans grapple with the rising cost of living. And this comes as Congress looks to present legislation to address energy production. So for more on this, I want to bring in Andy Lipow. He is the president of Lipow Oil Associates. Did I say your last name correctly, Andy?
Oh, you sure did. Thanks for having me,
Good.
Anne-Marie.
I'm really glad you're here because, I mean, there is some good news in that the price of gas has started to tick down, but compared to last year, it's still really high. So Congress is pushing for more legislation on energy production, and some members of Congress have called out oil companies for their high profits. Can you just put it into context? Why are oil companies making so much money? And we're paying so much?
Well, the oil companies are making a lot of money because they own the natural resources that are in the ground that have become in short supply as Russia invaded Ukraine. And the European Union and the United States imposed bans on Russian oil purchases. So refiners and the market are scrambling for alternative supplies, and that's been driving the cost up. In addition, as we exited the pandemic from 2020, we saw very little investment in the oil patches. Oil prices fell to nearly zero here in the United States. And as the world economy recovered and demand increased, that oil simply wasn't there.
So, the general feeling for people is, you guys are making so much money. Why can't you cut us a little break on the back end and not have the prices go so high? But as you point out, it's a little more complicated than that. And the oil and gas companies say, listen, we're going to use these profits to build up their energy supplies. I presume they're going to work on infrastructure. What does that look like, though, for us, regular people, day to day? How does that benefit us?
Well, the oil companies are spending money, and we see that, first of all, in the rig count is up 60% compared to this time last year. We're now at 767 rigs. Exxon is actually expanding their refinery in Beaumont, Texas. This is a project that's been going on for 4 years. That will increase supply. And many of these companies, Exxon, BP, Shell, and a number of the refiners are also investing in renewable fuels to produce additional supplies of diesel, except these all take a long time to come to fruition.
Does the fact that the U.S. dollar is so strong, particularly against the euro, does that help us in any way when it comes to the price of oil?
Well, generally speaking, commodities are priced in dollars, and as the U.S. dollar strengthens, those commodity prices will come off. That benefits the U.S. consumer, but it is to the detriment of other countries around the world that are still buying oil in dollars.
Well, like I said, the price of gas has gone down, not as much as we would like, but let's hope that perhaps this is a trend that we can, be celebrating in a couple of months, having a different conversation with you. What were you going to say, Andy?
Well, I do have good news for the consumer as gasoline prices continue to fall. They're at $4.21 as the national average. I expect to see $4.10 in the next 7 to 10 days. And we might even see $4 a gallon as the national average by Labor Day.
All right, let's go for that. And then maybe even further. Maybe we have a 3 at some point in our near future. Andy, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.